morning, everyone. Today is Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2021. The time is 9:02 a.m., and we do celebrate the peaceful transition of power that we have had for over 200 years in our democracy, so that's certainly something to celebrate. Officially calling this meeting to order. Attending for the commissioners is Commissioner Duncan, Brooks, and Filios. And do we have any changes to the agenda? So once again, I'd like to welcome everyone. I guess it is a momentous occasion. In any case, our first item of business, and all the items today are items for discussion as opposed to action items, is to welcome our new Sheriff, Mr. Bob Norris, and ask him if he'd like.
It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you very much.
Any words for us?
Yes. I'm looking forward to this journey with each and every one of you. I'm looking forward to serving this community, and we've hit the ground running. We're going to be an administration of positive change, so we certainly look forward to seeing what that change has to do with our elected positions with each one of you. So looking forward to it.
Thank you, Bob, and welcome again. Okay, moving on to our second item. Deputy Chief Treasurer position, our highly esteemed and very valuable and soon to be missed Chief Deputy Treasurer Lori Thomas is working her last day today. You're going to be sorely missed, but we'll turn it over to Treasurer Steve Matheson. Take it away, Steve. Is it on? Can I?
This one does work?
There you go.
Thank you. As well as the federal positions that she's held. She's going to be really missed, but I wish her well. We have posted the chief deputy position. It's going to be posted for at least another 2 or 3 weeks, I believe. I'm hoping to aggressively recruit candidates, so if you know of anybody, please let me know. And that's it. Lori, did you want to say anything?
Come on. No, it's
Always looking out for me. Thank you. Actually, 20 years has gone by extremely fast. I'm kind of surprised I'm still old enough to retire, but I'm going to take that plunge anyway. Want to thank each and every one of you for being part of my life. And yeah, I think you might want to think about it. It's kind of still scary, but still getting more exciting as the minutes are ticking by. And I turned off the alarm this morning and really turned off the alarm and thought, okay, here we go. But thank you for everything.
Thank you, Lori. Steve?
Last thing, we do have an open house today, so if anybody on your staff would like to stop by and say goodbye, it'll be between the hours of 10 and 2 today. We would like you to practice as closely the protocols established by our esteemed governor. Our offices are locked, so please knock if you want in.
Anyone else? Okay. Third and final item, catastrophic weather event policy, Leslie.
So I got to speak to several of you last Wednesday morning when decisions were being made whether to close the campus or not. And so I just wanted to do kind of an after-action report. How do the people who work down here feel it went? How can we do it better? And you know, communication, I think nowadays is getting easier and easier. So I want to know what the best way to communicate with our employees is, and the fact that even though even though administration ended up being closed, courts were still in session. So we have to make sure that our court employees understand that if they get a countywide employee notification, that they have a different authority that they have to abide by. So I don't know if we just want to go around the room real quick and find out how people thought it went and what we could do better. Chris?
I'm going to defer. Go ahead, Steve.
Thank you.
Ayla.
Leslie and I did speak. I think the communications went well. I don't know if there's much more you can do communication-wise. I think we know that emergency events are going to happen. I do think that emergency preparedness is a good thing and a plan. So that my understanding is the last time anything like this happened at this county was many years ago. I don't know exactly how long ago it was. And so I think it'd be a good thing to plan for, and maybe come out with a policy or some definitions, because I think one thing that I noticed is it seemed like there was a perception on the part of some employees. The assessor's office was open. We weren't necessarily open because the public, because the doors were closed, but I was in. I had very limited staff. By the time the notice came out, many, if not most, of the appraisers were already in the office. I believe, at least in Coeur d'Alene, I think also in Post Falls, for vehicle licensing, everyone was there because they have to get there early to prepare. But when the announcement came out, there was, I think, a perception that, oh, we can go home. I think I have a concern because the public, at least those individuals that were able to make it into, because there were trees down everywhere, excuse me, but those individuals that were able to make it in, I think there's a tendency for them to say, the public, well, we made it in, where are the county employees? And I was uncomfortable with the fact that we had staff in and we have a backlog, and they had made it in, to then turn around and send them home. Again, there's that perception of, well, we have, we were given this day, and so we should go home. In my opinion, every employee is an essential employee. I think there's a perception on the part of some that is, they interpret essential as being only law enforcement, emergency first responders. I don't believe that's the case. We had plenty of work to do in terms of backlog and addressing the backlog, and that's what we did. And I appreciate the staff, staying and doing the work. But I just do think that that would be helpful going forward in the future, to have some definitions in place so that everybody has a proper understanding of what it means when we're closed in a situation like that. And I understand why we do it, because we want to have fewer people on the road. We want to clear out the roadways so that the road crew can do their job of clearing the roads, and emergency first responders can not have to compete with people on the road. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Bela. And to that point, I mean, you're all elected officials, so I would expect that you would make the decision that's best for your department. So we have more of a global view and saying, and that's exactly why we made the decision, was because the roads were hazardous, and that's great. They made it some employees got to make it in without problems, but then also to send them home to that point, now you're just creating the same situation by getting them back on the road. So, you know, a little clearer communication, we're doing this because the roads are hazardous. If you're already at work, that's great. You know, if you're not, work from home. And it's hard because Everbridge only has so many characters. And so we're kind of limited by that. But what I'd also like to do too is say, employees, check your email. You know, and then that way we can have a lengthy conversation or, you know, a little bit more instruction to say that. But then I think we have some employees who can't or don't check their emails off site too. So that's a challenge.
Okay. Sheriff?
Yes, well, certainly don't want to reiterate what Mrs. Duncan said, but I agree with that. If you're already here at work, obviously part of the preparedness was to keep people off the streets and what have you. I'll tell you, so I wouldn't second guess anybody who made that command decision to say, hey, you know what, here's what we're going to do. From an external standpoint, it sure did stress our 911 center. We've had several positions that are vacant or frozen. That day, we logged over 1,000 calls for service. And in an already stressed environment, just led to a lot more stress. And it was there in Hayden and the city of Coeur d'Alene, it was a free-for-all for a while. I mean, protect yourself and we'll get to you when we can. But those areas particularly got hit really hard. As far as a campus security and how you determine who the incident commander is here to make the decisions, whether, you know, to have a drill, not have a drill, I assume that's something that we can certainly look at in the future. And how you handle certain events here, but I won't second guess anybody who said, hey, you know what, I think let's put this out. And in the interest of public health, I think it was the right thing to do at that time.
Under Sheriff Matos, Dan, thoughts?